As you find your mat, take a low gaze or close your eyes. Take in a couple of breaths. Let body and mind transition to this time for our yoga practice. And indeed, welcome to Yoga Hour. The word of the day is integrate. Take two parts and put them together. We do this all the time in the physical postures. We do this all the time. But just very mindfully, thinking stage by stage, how does one help the next as we practice today? Chin down to your chest, rock the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Pause there for a moment and walk the left fingertips out to the side. Integrate a little deeper stretch. And then take the right hand on top of the left ear and give it another little reach out to the side. And then both hands come back to the thighs, chin to chest, left ear over towards the left shoulder. And walk the right hand out. Pause there, take in a couple of breaths, notice how it feels. And then integrate that third piece, left hand on top of the head, little tug out to the side for even more length and stretch. And we'll bring it back, both hands to the thighs, chin to the chest. Lift the head, open your eyes. Okay, come on over to all fours. Place the hands under our shoulders, and as you do that, spread all 10 fingers wide. Grip the earth underneath the finger pads. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. And in this first downward facing dog, feel free to have a lot of movement. Feel free to have no movement. Just kind of check in with yourself. If you could give yourself just one word to label how you're coming to the mat, notice what that is. Maybe even say it out loud to yourself here. And take your feet wider apart in dog pose. Scooch the toes a couple of inches further back, so now you have a longer stretch as well. A little more stillness in the outer form. Give it 2 more breaths. And then change, feet all the way together, inner edges of the feet, heels touch, come forward to plank pose. One line from the shoulders, back to the heels, squeeze the glutes, lengthen your tailbone, tone the belly, look a little forward rather than straight down. Ever so slowly bend the elbows, try to hover halfway, and then a little further, and all the way flat down against your yoga mat. Point your toes straight back, take the hands behind you, turn the palms to the sky and lift everything up right into our locust pose, Shalabhasana. Squeeze the heels continually in towards each other. Lift from your thighs, squeezing the glutes, and let the chest lift as it will. Then exhale, lower it all the way down. Press back to child's pose. Change to downward facing dog. And step the right foot through to your low lunge. Take the right hand to the sky and twisted or revolved lunge. And then lower the hand to the inside of your foot. Spin the back heel down. Walk both hands out over the left corner of the mat for down dog lunge. Try staying on your fingertips here so you can adjust and push weight into the back leg as much as the front leg. That helps me. And then broaden the front knee a little bit away from the front shoulder if it's folding in. Walk the hands back in around the front foot. Step your left foot forward and your right foot back. We'll get into the second side in that way. And then left hand to the sky, twisted lunge. And lower the left hand to the inside of your foot, spin the back heel down. Walk the hands out towards the right corner of your mat. Down dog lunge. Again, try to get some good weight and pressure into the back leg. So usually the hips are a little higher here rather than lower. And keep broadening the front knee away from that left shoulder. One more breath here. Walk the hands in, again around the front foot and step backwards now, again to downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. We'll do that very slow lowering again, so a tiny little bend in the elbows. And just kind of notice, where does it work for you? At what point is it best to drop to the knees and then continue on, nice and slow, wrench down until you lie flat down onto your belly. Take the hands back. Try clasping behind the back this time and lift everything up. Lower it down. Press back to child's pose. Give it a breath. And then downward facing dog. Tuck the toes and lift the hips. From down dog, bend your knees a lot and walk your hands backwards to the end of your yoga mat. Hands to the hips, point the elbows to the sky. Press down into your feet and come on up to standing. Lift the arms all the way high. Keep the arms overhead, the torso vertical, bend the knees and sit into your thighs, Utkatasana, chair pose. Now, palms together, center the chest, and add a twist, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Try to press the palms in towards the center, tone and turn through the belly, maybe look up towards the sky. And then on an exhale, untwist. Stand all the way up again, lift, use the length and height, and continue the lift in the torso as you bend the knees again. And now, palms together and twist to the second side. Right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. This time, try looking down the whole time and square your knees. So you pull back maybe on the right hip to keep both knees at the same line. And then untwist, stand again, lift the arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Walk the hands out to downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. Now in your range of motion, I'm going to challenge us to keep on the toes here in plank pose. Unless your starting plank is on the knees, be there. If it is on the toes, stay there. And use the range of motion possible on your toes to do 5 yoga push-ups, meaning tricep push-ups, elbows into the side. Maybe it's not the full range down and up, but just a little bit. You found it in that wrenching that we did, slowly up, slowly down. And then everyone, downward facing dog. And again, bend the knees and walk your hands backwards to the end of the yoga mat. Hands to the hips, point the elbows up to the sky. Press down to your feet, come on up to standing. We've been here. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, Utkatasana, bend the knees. Different hands this time. Interlace the hands behind the back. Squeeze the elbows in. And then like a cat back, round your back and send your head to your knees. Now, lift the arms up towards the sky. My palms always come apart. And then I remember if I can squeeze the palms together, I can get a little bit more lift and opening there. Give it a try either way. Release the hands, stand all the way back up, lift the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of your chest. Take a steady gaze or close the eyes, just a couple of breaths. Remember that word that you dropped on your mat at the very beginning. Is it starting to shift or change here? Check in. And then we're actually going to sit down onto the mat. This is Yoga Hour sequence 2. And I think there's less flow in this sequence. There's a lot of balance work. And with that balance work, I think is why we've got some good, steady core strength right here to remind us to fire up. Boat pose, take the arms out to the side, try to lift your chest. Feet about as high as the knees. And then keep boat pose with bent knees or go for straighter legs. And then today we're going to try to keep the arms and legs as straight as they are and go from side to side. Take your legs to the right, your arms to the left. So sometimes we pedal this in cosmic abs. I'm just keeping everything the same and moving from side to side, legs to the left, arms to the right. Do it one more time, back to your first side. That's it. One more time, back to your second side. And into the middle, soles of your feet down to the ground. Take the hands about a foot behind you, turn the fingers out. Tabletop, lift the hips. Look down your belly. Try to lift your hips, your belly, your thighs high enough that you are hiding your knees from your sight. Keep doing exactly this or more challenge. Pull the right knee in and stretch the leg up to the sky. Back in and down. Do the other side, left leg in. Stretch up, in, and down. Sit back down onto your mat and lower all the way down to your spine. Sit on your hands and legs straight up into the air. Leg lifts, glue the feet together, inner edges of the feet, and then move the legs up and down. Think of it almost like that push-up where we were going slow, finding our range of motion, maybe a little faster. But keep the mid to low back moving down towards your yoga mat. If you notice a big lift, that's where you know your range stops. To make this more challenging, take the hands behind your head or even lift the head and shoulders off of the yoga mat. Keep going in your leg lifts for about 10 more seconds. I'd say that's plenty good enough. Pull the knees into the chest, give a good squeeze, and rock yourself all the way back up to a seated position, and then back down. Do this a couple of times until you have enough momentum, using your hands or not, to come all the way up to standing. Stand at the top of your yoga mat. Top of the mat, arms overhead in summit pose. Hold on to your left wrist and reach to the right, so a little crescent here. And then back to the center, hold on to your second wrist, reach up and a little bit over to the side, crescent in the second direction. And back in. Again, switch the grip, hold on to the left wrist, and step the left foot back. So right foot forward, left foot back, feet about hip distance apart in a high lunge. And then add the crescent in the upper body to the high lunge. Integrate lunge and crescent. Come back to the center. You can release the grip of the wrist and step forward. Let's try high lunge first on this side, so make the lunge shape. Then hold on to the right wrist and take the curve of the crescent pose. Inhale, come back to the center, step it all the way up. Exhale, forward fold, touch the ground. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Nice and slow every time today. Lower down, keep the integration, whole body working at once. And then once you are down flat on the mat, superhero. Extend the arms out in front of you, feet back behind you. Good, lift everything that you can up. Fly. Start to squeeze the heels together, the hands closer together, maybe make them touch. And then lift one more time and lower it all the way down. Press back to child's pose. Change to downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up, three-legged dog, just as high as you can. Find some freedom in the lift there. And then step all the way forward to your low lunge. Keep stepping, get your full stride. Spin the back heel down. Interlace the hands behind our back like we did in that chair pose a little earlier. Send the head down and the arms up. So much of this yoga practice, we see the elements of one pose put together with the elements in another pose. Repetition is what really builds the progress and the path of the practice. Release the hands on either side. Step it all the way back to downward facing dog. Second side, lift the left leg high for three-legged dog. Then take your time, step it all the way forward. It's always fine to use a little helping hand, get there. And then back heel down. Interlace the hands, second favorite finger in front. Try to squeeze the palms together. I just find that a little more strength to help into the stretch. No handed lunge, head goes down, arms go up. Shift the inner knee and the outer shoulder so they touch there at the front of the pose. And then release the hands either side, pick up the back heel. And this time step forward, front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand all the way up, reach the hands to the sky. And bring your palms together, center of the chest. Again, check in. How are you feeling? How's the breath serving you? The heat of the practice to get our day going. Release the hands, give it all a little bit of a shake to reset. Stand with the long edge of your yoga mat and take a wide stance. Extend the arms out in either direction, big star reach. Great. Turn the right toes out and bend the right knee. Warrior two, good old warrior two. Gaze out over the front fingertips. I've been doing a yoga training on Saturday mornings lately. All about yoga inclusion and integration. We had to write a 5-pose sequence that most embodied our practice. Warrior two, right off the bat for me. There's steadiness, openness, strength. Straighten the right leg, turn the toes, go to the second side. Bend the left knee. Keep shoulders stacked right over the hips. Try not to lean too far forward or back, so we're right there. Our December mantra is sit, stay, heal. Stay right here, warrior two. Let the poses themselves find healing in the body. Straighten the left leg, turn the toes parallel to one another, fingertips into touch, and step all the way together. Little shake. Okay, we'll add the next kind of couple of poses together. Take another wide stance. Turn the right toes out. Turn the back toes in just a little bit. It'll help that femur bone, front of the thigh bone, sort of head towards the front, and that usually activates a little more ease coming into triangle pose. Right hand down, left hand up here in triangle pose. Bottom hand, as always, could be on the floor, your leg, or a yoga block. Try to keep the chest open, the shoulders stacked right on top of each other, but you can look anywhere that feels best. And then staying on this side, take the top hand down to the hip. You should find that your hip is turned open. I want to turn the hip down towards the floor. Pyramid pose. Fingertips work down your leg or on each side of the leg. And lower your head towards your shin. And everything is just like, that's where we're working towards. Do our best here. Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. And then take your gaze a little bit ahead of the right foot, bend the right knee, and go for it in half moon, like pop right on up to it. Lift the back leg, lift the left arm. And then lower down, back to pyramid pose. Open it up to triangle pose. And stand all the way up. Turn to the other side, so turn the right toes a little bit in, and that's going to help especially as that transition goes to pyramid, right? From the hips, hinge forward, and then left hand down to your leg. Maybe move the yoga block if you're using it, or the floor. Top arm to the sky. Steady your breath. And then change, top hand to the waist. The pointy edge of the front of the hip should face pretty open here in triangle pose. And then we're trying to turn it down towards the floor. Hips more square with one another. Space allowing, take the hands lower and the head lower. And then inhale, lengthen the spine, look ahead of your left leg. Half moon pose, ready, set, go. Step up. Make the bottom leg as straight as works. Keep it as bent as wanted. And then we're walking back into pyramid. And back to triangle. Inhale, stand all the way up. Turn your feet parallel to one another, fingertips together, step or jump all the way in. Nicely done. Arms straight out in front. Pick the right knee up and then hook underneath the thigh and try to bring the knee a little bit higher to you. Bowing sage, we're bowing over first. Head towards your knee. Round the back. Try to pull one to the other. If that's working for you, can you change and hold on below your foot? Still working. Kick the heel out, out, out in front of you. Keep bowing in. Elbows squeeze into the side. Side of the leg, that is. Then pull it all back in and stamp 2 feet down to the mat. This one could be a good, I'm glad that guitar's gone, that you could put your back all the way against the wall and work on the other integration points of the pose rather than balance. It's worth it. Hold underneath the thigh or all the way down underneath the foot. Try to keep the round in the upper back as you kick forward. Stay with your pose, stay with your breath. And then come back, 2 feet onto the floor. Adjust to the front edge of your yoga mat, maybe the top third of the mat, and lift the arms up to the sky. Power pose, Utkatasana, chair pose, whatever we want to call it. Bend the knees, sit into the thighs. Lift the arms and the chest as vertical as possible here. Feel your strength. And then hands to the hips and stand up. We've done this a little bit in other classes through the week. Cross your right ankle over the left thigh, make like a figure 4 shape. Go back to chair pose. So we're back in chair pose with the figure 4. Now, can we tap our hands down to the floor? Just even fingertips to the floor. Sit a little lower into your legs. This is where I often play around with that bottom foot and sort of heel toe it back a little bit to give some more space. If the fingertips are down, can your palms go down? And if your palms are down, can you hook the right foot around your outer left arm bone? At your stage of the posture, move more weight forward to the front of the fingers so that you can kick your left heel and stretch the left leg straight back behind you in flying pigeon. It all pulls back in. We rejoin to the fingertips, to arms out in front, and to 2 feet on the ground, chair pose. Stand up and release the arms. So lots of places to play along the line here. Let's do the second side. It starts in chair pose, 2 feet to the floor, 2 arms overhead. Bend the knees, sit into your thighs. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh, figure 4 shape, and keep trying to descend the seat. All that working, fingertips to the floor. This is a huge work in the hip opening here. Fingertips to the floor might be fingertips underneath a block or balanced right above the ground. Again, if fingertips are down, try 2 more inches, flat palms. And then play, shift the right foot further back until you have enough leverage to kind of lean and rock forward and back, forward and back. Stay forward enough that you can pull the right heel, the right toes off of the mat, and maybe shoot the leg back. Try to come through each stage of the pose as you come out, as much as you did coming in. 2 feet to the ground. Stand up. Release the arms and give it a shake. Couple of breaths. Right? That's a tough one. From the front of the mat, still in our balance pose stages, kick the right heel towards the butt. Take hold of the front of your foot and extend the left arm straight up to the sky. Try to stay as up and down here as possible. Spread the right toes and start to push your foot into your hand so that the left thigh goes up away from you, back behind you. As if you're lying flat down on your yoga mat and can't lean forward here, try to stay straight up and down. And then pull the heel back in and stamp down to the floor. Dancing yogi, second side. Kick the left heel in, hold on, front of the foot. Take the right arm to the sky. And then kick the foot straight back behind you. So this should open up into a deeper quad stretch. Strengthen in the glutes. Big back bend. Lift, lift, lift. Again, lower it down, 2 feet to the mat. Walk just a little further back so you're at the center of your mat. I'm out of breath. Okay, chair pose. Arms to the sky, bend the knees, go back to your chair pose. This time, tilt the torso all the way parallel to the ground and tap your left foot back behind you. Awesome hips stability here on that right side. We want to keep that and lift the left leg up for a bent knee warrior 3 pose. Keeping bent knee, lower the left hand to the ground. So right foot, left hand. Keep the left foot as high as you can. Revolved half moon pose. Take the right arm up to the sky. Tone and turn the belly. If you have long hamstrings, lots of room in the body, straighten the standing leg best of your ability. To get out of this, go back to chair pose, 2 feet to the ground. A little deeper sit in the thighs. Reach both arms up towards the sky. And then adjust, torso parallel to the ground. Both hands to the waist for a moment. Tap the right foot back behind you. Lift the right leg high. So we'll work from the legs here on that second side. And then right fingertips down. Left arm out to the side. Sometimes that's a good stopping point. Or add the twist. Lift the left arm by turning from the entirety of the torso. Revolved half moon pose. So much work. Nice job, yogis. 2 feet to the floor. Last Utkatasana right here. And then exhale, fold over. Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Change to downward facing dog. Hands forward, feet back. You're halfway through. Do another little check-in here. How are you feeling? How are the different shapes helping us to shift the state of mind? Lower your knees down to the yoga mat. And right foot forward into a low lunge with both hands on the inside of our foot. Let's try this one here today, coming from the back knee down. Go to flat palms, bend at the elbows. And then flat on the floor or forearms underneath a block, go further. Now, keeping the front leg and arms there, tuck the back toes and lift the back knee up. Notice how that changes the posture. What do you have to do to stay integrated in this moment? Squeeze the inner thighs in towards each other. For today, keep the right toes, the right knee. The front toes, the front knee, facing straight ahead, not out to the side. And try to look past your hands rather than down at the elbows. Lower the left knee. Slowly transition back up to the hands and around to plank pose. Both feet back, pop the knees up. Nice, strong, steady top of your plank. Lower the knees. Shift the hands towards the right so that the left foot can come forward to our low lunge. And if that back knee is really far forward, it's going to be a longer ask to get down to the forearms. So keep making sure, or walk the back knee further back so that it's easier to go down to your forearms here. And once you find the upper body in its place today, again, integrate the lift of the back leg. So you add in a little more power to the purpose and the stretch. And relower the back knee, come up to the hands, find plank pose again. Hold at the top of your plank, squeeze the heels, the glutes. Lengthen the tailbone, tone the abdomen, look a little forward. Downward facing dog, shift the hips up and back. Step the right foot all the way through to your low lunge. Lower the left knee down, bring your hands up to the front thigh. Make sure to pad the back knee as needed so that you're not worried about the strain there. With the hands on the front thigh, as if you're trying to move the length of the muscle a little down and forward. But still, from your hips up to the head, think straight up towards the sky. They don't have to go down and forward. Legs, hips a little down, torso up. Now pull the back heel in towards the seat. Same hand, like you did in dancer pose, so integrating that dancing yogi, same pull of the back heel up against the outer sit bone as much as we can. So try not to leave it back, try to pull it in. The higher the hips, the easier that might be. You've got that same line, torso straight up and down that you had in dancing yogi, only letting the hips go down and forward as much as that works together. And then a nice slow release of the back leg. Take the arms up to the sky for one breath, Anjaneyasana. Lower the hands either side of the front foot and take it all the way back, downward facing dog. Second side, step the left foot forward in between the hands, lower the back knee. Again, hands up to the front thigh. Think of growing higher from your hips up to the head, but at the same time, letting yourself massage a little down and forward on the front leg. Okay, let's try back heel in towards the seat. And I realize on my first try, I've got my legs too close together. I'm gonna try taking the back knee a little further back. Yep, and then as I bend, I can get more onto the front of the thigh, less hurt. Hold on to the right foot if possible, and keep pulling the heel in towards your outer sit bone. Not out to the side, not lower. Slow release of the back foot. One breath to lift the arms up. And then exhale, lower the hands down either side of the front foot and step it all the way back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward. So this next series of poses, belly down, back bends, there's a whole lot of the integration of dancing yogi. So we're doing it again here, but now on our belly. Reach the arms out in front of you. Swim the legs a little back behind you. And then pull the right heel in towards your seat. Take the right hand, hold on to the top of your foot, the same way we've been doing. Push the pinky finger side of your left hand down to try to lift everything else up. Lift the right leg off of the ground and keep squeezing the right knee in towards the side. This time the heel does get to go back and away from the seat. Lower it down, but keep holding on to your right leg here and come to your forearm of the left arm. Lift the torso, spin the right hand to the big toe side of your foot. Stay and work there, or spin the fingers down, the elbow up, and pull the heel closer into the outer sit bone again for that deeper quad stretch. Very slowly release. Lie down on your belly, maybe a little pillow, hands to the forehead. Okay, let's try arms out in front, second side. Kick the left heel in towards the seat. Take the left hand, hold on, outside edge of the left foot. This right pinky finger really does do a lot of work. You're gonna nail it down into the ground so that everything else can lift up. So it's that same dancing yogi pose, but now we're doing it from the plane of lying down. And as you bring it back in, keep hold of the foot, but go to your forearm and try to prop up the torso a little bit higher. Flip the hand, thumb up on the big toe side. Take some maneuvering. And then can you twist the fingers down and the elbow up? It's going like this. Thumb is up and then it twists down with the elbow up. Everything looks forward to the degree we can. And then nice and slow, release the pose. Whew, all the way back down. Bend both knees. You get to do it one more time. Both hands out in front, both pinky fingers down. Try to pull your chest up. Imagine full bow pose, both hands to your feet. Do you see it? Do you see it in your mind's eye? And then let's integrate it together. Take the hands back, hold on to your feet, and lift up a little bit higher. Squeeze the inner thighs in towards each other. Big squeeze in the glutes to help sustain and support your low back. And then lower it all the way down. Downward facing dog. Ooh, always feels so good to me after that long series of belly down back bends. Pedal, pedal, pedal out through the feet. Side plank. So starting from downward facing dog, keep the right hand down, outer edge of the right foot. Try stepping your left foot forward and then swing the left arm up. Push through the outer edge of the right foot to help keep your hips higher. Nice stretch to the IT band there of the left leg. You can keep doing that or try the balance of stacking the feet. A little more balance work. Let's go back to downward facing dog. Try it on your second side, left hand outer edge of your left foot. Step the right foot forward, right arm up to the sky. Again, nice steady work there. Stay and work, or try stacking the right leg on top. Downward facing dog. Look forward to the hands, step or jump all the way to the front edge of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. One last little check-in prior to the warm down or cool down poses. How are you feeling? How do you want the rest of this practice to continue for you today? I said warm down because there is one more big pose. Lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. One more time, step back to downward facing dog. From the length of your downward facing dog, drop the knees down to the mat. So it's a little longer all fours shape. Stretch your left foot straight, toes tucked and on the floor. Similar to what we just did in side plank, you're going to keep right knee, right hand down and lift the left leg and the left arm up. We're moving into Kapinjalasana or baby bird pose. Kick the left heel to your butt and take the top hand and hold on to your foot. So it's that same dancing yogi position that we keep doing. We'll integrate it here inside plank. Push your back heel away from you, your left heel away from you. Release. Go back to downward facing dog. Okay, yogis, we're going to stay on that same side. Either repeat that pose one more time, or you can try that pose from the outer edge of your right foot instead of the right knee. You choose. Stack the feet or back knee or right knee down. Left arm up to the sky, left leg off of the right. Kick the left heel towards your butt. Reach the left hand to the left foot and kick away from you. Kapinjalasana, baby bird pose. Release. Everyone find downward facing dog. And so we know where we're going, what's possible for us. Lower the knees down. Keep that longer stride, knees behind the line of the waist. Lift the right leg up. Open out to the side. It's like half moon pose, but on the knee instead of on the foot. And then kick your right heel towards your seat. Right hand to find the foot. Spread the toes so that the calf muscles get a little more active and kick away. Release, downward facing dog. Okay, remember, you have that same option a second time, or you come to the outside edge of the left foot, stack the feet, again, right hand high. Try to keep the hips higher rather than lower so that this doesn't bring any pain to the wrist or shoulder. Lift the right leg, kick it back behind you, try to hold on to it. Push your foot away from you. Downward facing dog. Nice, nice, nice work, yogis. I love the different options that you're all taking there. So down dog. I've always called down dog my home base pose. It's not the beginning, it's not the end, it's all of the things. Let the practice integrate its full circle right here in downward facing dog. And then kneel down, knees to the mat, child's pose, sit back. From child's pose, lift your torso up and pull your knees together. So sit back on your heels, torso upright. From the warm down into the cool down, take a little twist to your right And then a twist to your left. Come back across your center, sit on your bum, swing your legs out in front of you. Staff pose, try to make an L shape here. One line from the hips to the head. As much as possible, a straight line out to the heels, but a lot of times to get our torso upright, we need a little bend behind the knees. Feel free to find that. Stretch the legs as straight as works, keeping the lift of the torso. And then fold the upper body more forward. Hold on to the outer edges of your feet or hands down to your yoga mat. If you had the little bend of the knees in staff pose, you'll probably want to keep it here. We're looking for a pretty even stretch through the back side of the body. So that means legs all the way through the back. If you're holding onto your feet, another alternative is wrap your first two fingers and thumb around the big toe. I was just recently reading some commentary that this big toe grip might be more symbolic than anything. Often the big toe is called the absolute. So you're holding, integrating to that absolute within you, within all of us. And then you release your hold, lift your torso back upright, shift to sit down or to lay down on your back. Bridge pose. We'll get one more nice open body position here. So hold on, hands close to, set the hands down on the ground, just barely brushing against your heels. Press your feet, shoulders, head down, lift your hips up in bridge pose. Squeeze the glutes just like you would in any other pose to really give you the support here. Maybe interlace the hands underneath and roll the shoulders up and in. Release the hands, lower the hips. Last little bit here. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Pull the legs in. Maybe thread the arms. In your own time, switch to the second side. Left ankle over the right thigh, knee out to the side. Pull the right leg in. And then both feet back down to the mat. Please add in any last bits of unwinding movement, any last pose or movement that would feel nice to you. This is your time. And then from that unwinding, settle in for your final pose. Lie back in a traditional Shavasana. You could find a seat of meditation. I've had a lot of You tell me that Shavasana is especially tricky at home. As you lie back, to keep the mind centered, perhaps find just a little bit of movement, match thumb and pinky finger together, and then forth, and walk the fingertips first, second, third, fourth, from pinky going back. And giving just that little bit of repetitive movement within the stillness, allowing us to stay in the practice. And then ever so slowly, breath, movement again, a little bit together. Take your time to stretch out more. And then make your way all the way back to a seated position. And as you find your seat, allow your gaze to stay soft or the eyes closed. Take the work of this practice, the integration from this practice out into the rest of your day. Let it follow through this week. Let's bring palms together, thumbs to the sternum, and Anjali Mudra. This is a gesture that means offering. Offer the final sound of Om. Empty out your breath. Take a deep breath in. And from the light within me, I bow and honor that same light within each of us. Namaste.